And see, it's funny. Like, I've got other light fixtures that I've installed on my YouTube channel, and sometimes I think, why should I make another light fixture? Because they all get installed the same. Well, yeah, they all do get installed the same pretty much per se, but like I was saying, usually you only have one black wire up there, one white wire, and one ground wire. You just connect those wires to your light fixture, screw it up there, and attach it, and away you go. Well, this one is a little bit different, so I'm glad I'm making a video to bring it to you. Now see, I carry all my electrical incidentals in this bag, and so anytime I have extra things, I throw it in there. And this is I thought that was 12 gauge wire, but this is 14-2 with ground. And I even have a piece that I stripped out that I used for pigtails and for some other things. And so I even saved the sheathing, because every once in a while I might use the sheathing and wrap around a bundle of wire and then staple that or something. I've done that before. And I can tell the 14 gauge wire is a lot more pliable and flexible than 12 gauge. And I happen to find this. I got lucky. This I know is 12 gauge wire. Okay, and it's more stiff than the other wire. Okay, and I'm gonna just you can't really. I don't think you're going to be able to tell if I hold that up to the camera. But this ground wire here is actually thicker in diameter than this one. This is very easy to bend, very easy. And I know this is 14 gauge, and this feels stiffer. I know this is 12 gauge. The difference in gauge is not that much, but it's just enough to possibly make a difference. And like I said, could I have used the 14 gauge wire for pigtails? Yeah, I probably could have. But I'm going to be safe rather than sorry. I don't want to tell you something wrong and have somebody come unglued saying, hey Joe, you shouldn't have done that. You're telling people how to do it the wrong way. If you're gonna do it right, don't tell us to do it right when you're doing it wrong, or something like that. And again, because they ran 12 gauge wire, I've got a sneaky suspicion that of course they should have ran a 20 amp breaker to that wire up there. And I could start flipping breakers and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to, because that's 12 gauge and I've got the wire. I've got the wire right here, so I've got 12, and I don't have very much. Lots of times lots of my projects are 14 gauge wire and 15 amp circuits, so that's why I don't have any. I think I have some 12 gauge at another place, okay, but I just don't happen to have it with me. So I'm gonna just use this wire, and I'm gonna make pigtails, and I'm gonna end up doing pigtails for those others too, I think, just to make it easy on myself, okay? And so here's my pigtails, okay? Now I'm going to save this stuff for another project. This is long enough for another pigtail. This is enough for two pigtails, one pigtail, okay? So next time I go to where my 12 gauge wire is, I'll have to make sure. I think I have some little small pieces like this. I never like to cut those off of a full length, a long piece. I've got a 250 foot roll, and I used maybe half of it already. I don't like cutting things off, but you know, for something like that, I could cut off a little piece, you know, yay long, and use that for pigtails. But then lots of times on the end of your runs and stuff, don't throw those pieces away. As long as your wire is this long, you know, you can use those for pigtails, okay? So that's my next step. I'm going to take and run pigtails. That's what I call it, pigtails on up here, okay? I'm going to do that because my black wires, Look at that, my black wires hardly stick out of this box and the white wires don't either. And as I remember, it was very difficult and tricky to get that unscrewed when I was removing the wall sconce from the floor. I have no idea why they cut them that short. That is a no-no. So let's just do things right, shall we? This is just going to be the next step to our project. And most, like I say, most light fixtures, you don't have this issue, okay? And I've got the ground wires. You can hardly see these ground wires because they're over on the other side of this red wire nut and stuff. But I'm gonna strip this out. I'm gonna use the same wire nuts, and they had twizzled these all together, probably with a pair of pliers, boom, 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 before they put the wire nut on. But I don't have to do that. I can just attach this on there. I can just put this on there sideways or at the end, and just put my wire nut back on. Okay, so I'm just gonna bend this and try to get it squeezed in there so I can just kind of hold it on the outside here. And I can bend it in there maybe like that, and then I can hold that up there, see? And screw it back on. That's all I got to do. And these red wire nuts have wings on it, so I can take my thumb and my finger and tighten that down. And because I'm having a hard time with that, because it's so tight and close to the box, I'm just going to take my pliers and give it a couple twizzles. And they tell you, they frown upon doing it this way. On most of your applications, you shouldn't have to do this, but I'm doing it because I can, and because it's right up there tight. Now I'm feeling on there, everything's fine, and now I can push that red wire nut back into the back side of the box, trying to get other things out of the way, get my fingers off of the wall, okay, and I can redirect my ground wire coming out of the middle, okay. So I've got my ground wire just like that. Okay, now I'm gonna do the white wire. Let's do the whites. And they have those wrapped around, they're all holding together fine. There's just two of them. And I've got to strip this back. And you don't want to do this with your power on. You want to make sure your power's off and stuff. And I'm trying not to throw the little bits that I take off on the floor because I've got carpet, kind of like shag carpet on the floor. And it's kind of hard to find. So see, I just bend it like an L-shaped deal, just so I can kind of hang on to it. Because I don't have to hold it right up at the end because those two are all tight together, okay? Lots of times electricians don't do that. Lots of times they just hold two up there and twizzle it on, or hold three up there and twizzle it on. This electrician decided against doing it that way, so that's fine. I'm just gonna kind of get this on a little bit better, so I feel comfortable that it's on here, snug as a bug in a rug. Okay, pull on that, make sure it feels tight. Make sure, just because the wire nut is tight doesn't necessarily mean it's tight on your wire. Sometimes you'd be surprised and your wire will come right out of it if you're not paying attention. Okay, now I've got to kind of push that back into the box. Good grief. May have to rearrange that a little bit. There we go. Manhandle that bad boy. There we go. Okay, now we got that wire. The black is kind of well, it's not really sticking out any further, but it's easier to work on. So I'm going to strip this black wire. It's easier to work on only because everything else is out of my way. Okay, so I'm going to strip the end of that off. About a ½ inch or so. I make it about a half. You can go a little bit further because it's a red wire nut. You just want to make sure that your wire nuts go beyond where you stripped it, okay? Okay, so that's held on there, and I'm going to just put that one on there. You see anything hard about this? Am I doing anything exceptionally hard to make you think you can't do this? I don't think I am. Just going to tighten that on there. If you do it too tight, you could break off the inside of your wire nut, snap off the wire. See, now I'm gonna fold that over the other direction, get it in there in the box. Okay, so now I've got my 3 wires sticking out of that box, just like that. Okay, that's your next step for this particular type of application. All right, so now what am I going to do now? Now of course I'm ready to install this, and I have to look at my light fixture box and see which way. See, I just got to hold that up. I know they're going to come out this way, so I know the mounting. See, this mounting screw is going to be screwed to that, so I'm going to have that facing straight up, right? See, if I wanted to run these vertical going up that way, then of course this mounting bracket would need to be installed sideways. Let's see, there's that ground screw, and we'll probably end up using that. We'll see how we're going to do that. For right now, though, my next step is to install this, right? Okay.